Good evening, YouTube and Twitter. I think we're live on tonight. So it's absolutely great to have you here for this 1,000 subscriber show. I can't believe I've actually made it to 1,000 subscribers. I think it's always a crazy journey to try and get up to that first 1,000 because, people don't know about your channel and what you stand for and that kind of thing. So it's almost like a little kind of rock climbing exercise where you're going up something like, El Capitan and, trying to climb to the top. But then you get to 1,000, and I think then more people plug into your content, and you start to find it a little bit more of an easier ride. But it's great to have you all with us tonight, as it is here in the UK. I know over in the States it's only Eastern Standard Time 2 o'clock. So I appreciate that there's going to be a lot of you people that are at work. So if you're watching this on catch up, then welcome aboard. There is a very special giveaway tonight from our guest. If you look at the bottom of the screen and you look at the banner going across the bottom, you will see the word Slasher Bear. If you put Slasher Bear into the comments through tonight, then you are going to be in with the random lucky dip draw at the end that you could win one of our guests' special one-of-one NFTs. And talking of guests, let me cut to the chase and tell you that I've got two very special guests this week. And these people have been handpicked by myself because of their outstanding talent. First one tonight is Gnaw Bears. And Gnaw is one of the most creative, inspirational people on the Stellar network. There's no doubt about that. He's always pushing the boundaries of what we can do, which is one of the reasons why we hooked up. I've asked him whether he can help me with my project later in the year to get that up and running, and he's on board helping me as well. So he's doing things that, just blow people's minds. And, I'm absolutely delighted to welcome Gnaw Bears to tonight's show. Gnaw, can you hear me?
Thank you for having me. And first of all, congratulations on hitting 1,000 subscribers. I remember finding your channel when we first linked up, and I think you only had like 300 or something. And just to see your growth over the past few months has been really, really fun and exciting to see, as we really need more people like you to educate the masses on how all of this works. And you're a solid resource, and someone to follow if you're interested in like any particular project, and you see that Ben is backing it or involved in it. It's always a good call to take a peek or invest. But thank you for having me. It's exciting to be here and looking forward to the show.
I think that to start the conversation, let's start where we kind of left off our pre-show chat, with regards to when we consider about pushing boundaries and where our minds work, which is slightly different to other people's. I think both of us connect also in like a spiritual sense, without going too deep down that rabbit hole. We've just been talking about, obviously, thoughts being physical things, how we can start manifesting into our own lives. And last year was a prime example with me on the Stellar network. I have some real massive aspirations, huge things that people would find quite comical if they actually heard them. But I write down goals. I'm a firm believer in setting goals because that gives us purpose and direction in life, but also to set obscene goals and then to start working on them. And everything that's happened for me in the whole Stellar ecosystem has been down to creating, with my thinking, these roles, what I actually want to do, because I don't think there's anything more empowering than getting up in the morning and doing something you truly love, you're passionate about. When you speak to people, you're super passionate about it, and you get rewarded for that. So I know that we connect on that level where we're constantly bouncing off each other, trying to like push the boundaries. We talked about the wine bottle, and how we do the augmented reality. Give us a little bit of your take on that whole kind of world of the way that you are building out your project, and how you connect with kind of maybe an outer force to find some inspiration for what you're doing.
Sure. Yeah, that's a deeply involved subject, something that I personally think about like every day, even as I'm working, and just trying to observe the different just nuances of like how things work and what I do, and I'd say that having a strong relationship with yourself is like the most important thing that you could, start off with. If you understand how your brain works, and like maybe if you do a little bit of introspection at some point, ask yourself this one question. Uh, this question in particular really opened my mind and my eyes. I'd say maybe like 5 or 6 years ago. And it was, who is aware that I'm aware of myself? Because when you think about and you observe the dialogue that goes in on like inside of your mind and your brain and everything, there's also a one step behind that is something that's aware of you being aware of yourself. And so if you try to pay attention to the way that your mind operates and communicates with itself, I feel like after you're at least have some kind of awareness, you can then pay attention to the negative thoughts that pop up and try to tame them, because I feel like the reason why a lot of the things that we aspire to do as human beings don't tend to go our way is because we think we of a goal, and then all is fine and dandy. And until one or two negative like self-doubt thoughts appear or dominate the whole idea. And I'll be honest, after like paying attention to like a solid decade of this going on in my own life, that even if I doubt myself even once, it could set progress going forward back even just like a few weeks. Or if you're working on coming up with a project idea or a launch or something, it could push your whole project back like a year. And I've had several projects that I've released and attempted in the past, and that you always hear the saying like it takes like 500 failures to find that one success, and it's absolutely true. If you like give up and just hang up at the first failure, you're never going to see it, because it really does take a tremendous amount of effort to not only tame your life but tame your mind, and stop everything at all costs to prevent you from achieving your goals and stuff. So that's just a Cliff Notes version of the introductory of how to incorporate this philosophy into your own life. But as far as my own project goes, it really came from a place of uh, understanding that these NFTs are not about having good art. You can be the best artist in the entire world, in my opinion. You could have breathtaking work, and people will buy it or they won't buy it. But what makes a NFT project successful, in my opinion, is the utility that the NFTs provide. Once I understood that it wasn't about the quality of the art, it was more so about what they did. It changed the entire game for me. It just clicked in my head. It's like if you create a product that can entertain, it has story, it has value, it has this, it has that, it has rarity, it has multiple, it covers it ticks all of the boxes, if you will. Then there's no other real way for it to go other than for it to succeed, because it's appealing to the general masses, right? So I spent a lot of time, like months and months and months before I even mentioned or came out of the woodwork with my project. And I just studied the market, studied what people found interesting, studied, what I found interesting, and along the way, just like kept telling myself, like you're gonna figure this out, you're gonna find what works, keep the positivity flowing, and there's moments now where we've been launched for a little over a month now. We launched in December 1st. We just sold all 99 of the first phase of bears. No bear was left behind, and as much as it's because of my community and the people that support my project, a lot of it I feel has to do with the internal dialogue and the work I did, spiritually or mentally prior to having even mentioned my project. So.
Yeah, I think that, Sir Cheesley is, good evening, Sir Cheesley, by the way. I know you're talking about Nor being an absolute machine. You're not far behind there. You've got like 3 computers on the go for different projects. I know how you work. So you're cut from the same cloth as well. Perfect example of what you can accomplish with hard work and creativity. Really inspiring. Absolutely 100% agree. Banging comment. If you've got comments, by the way, guys, put your comments into the comments box. If you've got anything for Nor or myself, put it in there. We'll drop it onto the screen so other people can see and enjoy it. Okay, so we talk about self-sabotage there and about derailing projects. I've been exactly the same, mate. I worked in a software development and app development marketplace for 2 years. In the kind of the crypto lull. So, when we had like the 2018 downturn until kind of 2020, I assembled a team of friends, essentially people that were in the crypto space, and then we kind of morphed into a software project, building an app with developers, and it was going to be something similar to like an eBay, but then we were going to be incorporating crypto, so you can make crypto payments for regular. My whole kind of mantra was I want a grandmother to buy a plant pot in Litecoin. That's kind of where I was, and I just like zoned in, but going about the self-sabotage and that kind of thing, I think I had so many failings in terms of being part of like a corporate team. As the project evolved, it turned into kind of like boardroom stuff and, having executive chairman and, this stuff that I really couldn't handle because I'm a free spirit like you. And I had those doubts, and basically I imploded my own project. So I did 2 years of work and I just imploded the whole thing, because of these, exactly what you're talking about, where you have these doubts and you question yourself, and then, you question other people that are on the team and things. And it took me a long time, bro, to actually pick myself up and to think, something, to even get a project to, pre-launch with an MVP and all this stuff, that was like painful. But it's funny how the universe also works, because going full circle, the developer who I worked with then, he was the only one really that we stayed like close. Everyone else kind of just, bomb burst away from everyone else. And the developer was like, he messaged me middle of last year, what are you up to now? Are you still in crypto? What are you doing? Like, I need to get up to speed. And then, he and I have like sort of met a few times, and, he's now saying, all the code that we did for the marketplace can pretty much be used in like almost a VV sense. If anyone knows about VV app, the NFT marketplace app. So he said we can make an NFT marketplace with the code that we've got. It wasn't wasted. And then of course, what I'm doing with Vengeance Gaming, with characters and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, maybe that was meant to happen. So in the depths of despair, and when you're really down and depressed and everything's dark, maybe that had to happen, because I needed that code for something that I'm doing in the future. And I'm now thinking maybe that whole journey, even though I didn't understand it then, was actually part of this whole wider concept that I'm trying to build. So yeah, I'm totally with you. I mean, I've been as low as a rotten apple at the bottom of a barrel, and as high as a kite, and everywhere in between. It's kind of like a real volatile roller coaster in this space, isn't it? So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, totally. Just to make a comment on, just everything seems to have a purpose, even if you don't think that it does. So it's just wise to be mindful of your actions and how you treat other people, because that one person you screw over, or are ignorant to, or something, could say one thing to another person. Like it's a very like interesting thing how the sequence of events take place and path our future. I've always just tried to be like extremely mindful of like every experience, and make mental note of things that need to be improved. And I think as long as you're like self-aware and make an attempt to do better each day, which is my first thought every day that I work up, is how can I do better than I did yesterday? How can I be a better father? How can I be a better human? How can I be a better artist? How can I be a better, developer? How can I be a better, you know, husband, whatever, you know what I mean? Like whatever you could do to improve just even a hair. You're like, as long as you stick to that, let alone, it's a good formula to achieve your wildest dreams, because as long as you're trying to improve, and do better, I don't see, very much getting in your way. And if something does, chances are you're going to learn from it, or you're going to benefit later on, because there is no actual time, in my opinion. I think things happen on a way bigger scale. I think that a year in Earth human terms could be a blink of an eye, and when you're zoomed out, in the third perspective, spectating the entire universe. The universe doesn't seem to operate in the same constraints as we do here on Earth. So being patient, being mindful, observing, being aware, those are all important, in my opinion.
Yeah, and also, I mean, what you touched on there, mate, to unpack a little bit. 'Cause I mean, there's a shit ton of value again in what you've just said. But to unpack the first part of that, that incremental movement forwards, I think that's really, really super important for anyone that's trying to break through in kind of any area of their life, is to go, okay, this crap's happened. I got to first of all dust myself off and think, right, this is not going to finish me. Right, this is seriously bad, whether it's a relationship, grief, whether it's finances, whether it's a project that's died. This is seriously bad where I am now, but it's not going to finish me. I need to incrementally climb out of this. And that incremental improvement, I mean, I used to teach a lot on the stage across Europe, about personal philosophy and mindset and all that kind of thing. And, one of the things that I say to people is, the compound effect. Where you compound, you just do something little. Same with fitness, dieting, anything you want to put your mind to. Those little compounded, choices that you're making, that then the curve, it's not very long before the curve starts going, in an exponential growth curve, and you start saying, wow. And then you get people like Stephen here, you guys in the community are inspiring, help me find my creativity again. So thank you. It's, Gnaw, myself, and many of the other creatives on the Stellar, in the Stellar ecosystem, get inspired by inspiring. I think that's another thing. I think I took that from Jim Rohn right back in the 90s or something. You become inspired by inspiring others. And then it works in like a circle. So the more that you see these kind of comments and think there's people out there that, really appreciate what you're doing, that inspires you to work harder, to do that little bit more, to be an incremental stage above what you're doing now. And before you know it, you think, how have I even landed here? Or I can't even understand it. So, to unpack that, I think, that journey of, and it goes on from really what we were saying about being in the deep pit, having those, projects that fail, incrementally come out, all of a sudden one takes. And one starts taking, and you start getting into it a lot more. And you kind of have a feeling, I think, inside on an energy level, your time is now. You know that this is right. It feels right. You get a completely different feeling than the failed projects. Something clicks, and you think, I'm on the right track with this. So thank you, Stephen. I also want to put out a comment before we move on. This one, and this is very true, from Debbie. It's amazing how far you can blossom when you start surrounding yourself with like-minded people. What we feel as our mistakes often become our greatest masterpieces. Absolutely spot on. And also, I'm a firm believer of, you are the sum of the 5 people you spend most of your time with. And this can be online friends, such as myself and Gnaw, or myself and Sir Cheesley, or Phil, or whoever that we're talking to on a regular basis, or it can be people in the physical world. But you are the sum, and you can't change this. It's just the way the universe works. If you hang around with deadbeats, you'll become a deadbeat. If you hang around with professors, you will rank up your intellect. That's the way it is. So always aspire, for me, this is my kind of takeaway, always aspire to be the least intelligent person in the room. And then you're going to be constantly learning off everyone else, right? But anyway, enough from me. Nor talking about projects taking and the energy and clicking into place. Dive us into what you're working on at the moment, what you're scanning us through on this game. Talk to everyone about this. What's this about? How is it working? What are you doing here?
Sure. I just wanted to say one thing about what you just said, and I totally agree with the people you hang around. One of my biggest roadblocks was just cutting out all the slack. People in real life, and like I'd say there's maybe 2 people, my father and one real life friend that know about what I'm doing here on Stellar. And it's you got to carve your own path. It's not about everybody in the world knowing on Facebook that you're killing it or something. You know what I mean? So like I made the personal choice of just go on my own way. You're gonna just Jesus take the wheel, if you will. And yeah, so this is what you're looking at is the Gnaw Bears Metaverse project. Um, Earlier in December, we were able to connect the server to Stellar and have it read a few NFTs. And so right now, or at least in the meantime, from over the holidays into now, we have built a lobby here that'll serve as an area for people who log into the server. Their first few moments will be inside of here, where they'll connect to the server, where they'll retrieve their items for each null bear that they've gotten. They'll be able to shop in the different stores we'll have set up. Um, and this is all done through Stellar and you owning the Null Bear NFT. And so, just for example, let's say you had just purchased Null Bear 0032, and you would follow a series of, like breadcrumbs that had led you to the point where you had our server's IP address. And let's do this from scratch here. So you would need Minecraft Java Edition, which is the only Minecraft edition that allows for mods and what we do with Stellar and stuff. So if you do have intentions on utilizing your bear in this way, you will need Java Edition. If you have any issues in getting it or need help, feel free to reach out to me on Discord. But you would just log in through multiplayer on Java Edition. You would add our server address, and then you would see the Nullverse. And once you connected to the Nullverse, you would be prompted to connect your account to our server and your wallet all together, so that the server can read your wallet and issue custom items based off of each bear that you own. And these items that you'll receive are all handmade and tailored to you individually. So one of the things that I've been working on is creating, custom items. Uh, this item in particular is called Fig's Training Blade. It has a lore description on it that says it didn't do the most damage, so he thought, but at least the ladies liked it. And so you'll have unique items. If I'm aware of you and your account, like if I know that Fig owns a few bears, or if I've paid attention to the wallet listings and stuff that I have for each bear holder, I'll keep in mind like how you are as a person and try to really tailor these as like genuine gifts from myself to you. So if just so happened to know that your favorite food was like melons or something, I would definitely include a melon slice in there or something. But the possibilities are pretty endless as far as like the custom items and whatnot that we'll be giving out. But basically, if you own a Gnaw Bear, you'll log into our Minecraft server. You'll connect your wallet to the server. The server will read that you do, in fact, own a Gnaw Bear, and then you'll be given your items and then given the opportunities to go into the different portals that we'll have set up here in the main lobby. And these portals will take you to the different game modes that we'll have available. I think when we launch, we're only going to have the lobby, a survival server, and a creative server, so that you don't feel forced to do one or the other. You'll have the option whether or not you want to just freely roam and build, or if you want to participate in the more like RPG aspects that the game has to offer, there'll be an opportunity for you to do so. But basically, like I said, you own Bear, you join server, you get items, you get access to game modes, as well as access to the Bear Holder reward system. Not too many people have been told this outright, but I'll mention it here. But if you do buy a bear, there's a channel in our Discord, discord.gg/gnawbears. There's a channel that becomes available called Bear Holder Info, and that gives you breadcrumbs to a Telegram channel called the Bear Holder Sewers. And in the bear holder sewers is where you'll find out about stuff first before it gets dropped onto Discord. You can keep in touch with other bear holders. You can trade your bears. You can receive, or ascertain about bears that had already been released that are now considered rare. And just communicate with the bear holder community. But the thing that is important to know about the bear holder reward system is that each month, as I release NFTs that are, community based, you get them first, and you also get an exclusive NFT every month that's specific to being a bear holder. This month, it's the Nalsis levitation gift. So yeah, that's the chunk, the meat and potatoes of what I'm trying to do here on Stellar and what we've been able to accomplish since our inception on December 1st.
I think in that space of time, that's pretty insane what you've been doing. And I know there's some really cool comments coming through now, comments of support and people that are like, part of the sewers. If you know, there's a comment coming through. I just want to come on to this point where you've obviously showed us what you've got to so far with regards to connecting our Minecraft server, connecting the wallet, and the ability of trying to build out like kind of bespoke experiences for different users, and I'm loving that. Do you think there's going to be a point in time where another conversation we had before the show was centered around machine learning, AI? Do you think then there would be a way that you could maybe do what, when you are using certain social media apps and you're having a conversation with, your partner or your wife or your husband or something, and you say, oh, about Seychelles holidays or something. Next thing you know, you see all these advertisements, don't you, come up? So do you think that there's going to be the ability in the future for you to be able to draw in maybe some experiences and kind of keystrokes that specific person's had, and then maybe utilize that so it's even more of a bespoke experience?
I'm really considering that at the very least, even without the assistance of machines or anything like that, that I've played this game for at least 8 to 10 years since it came out. I've had my time with Minecraft, and I think to really make this the best experience that it can possibly be, I'm really going to pay attention and actually spectate people as they play and just get a feel for like how people are struggling or how they're interacting, what we can do to make it easier, what they would enjoy. And I'd even go as far as to say I take pretty much everything that's mentioned in our Discord as suggestions, and really detail the way that I approach my project around consumer feedback. I think that a lot of game developers and developers in general struggle with, over delivering or over promising. But my approach has been that if the people are the ones playing your game and the people are the ones investing in your game, then they should have at least some kind of creative input or input at least to be able to, help design the game that they would want to play. I can't tell you how many games I've played where it's just been a huge letdown. You wait for the majority of the game to be released and then you play it for the first time and it's absolute trash. I can't tell you how many times I've stuck with game companies and spent thousands of dollars on in-game items and cosmetics and stuff just to be, turned around and have the class that I play like nerfed to the ground, unplayable. You spend like 16 years on one character and then your character's like screwed because they just decided that you're too strong. Like, so everything that we've done up until now has really been consumer driven and feedback driven, and I want to continue to do that. If there was another person in the server right now, I'd be able to show you that, as long as I type like slash spectate and then the person's name, I can see the game through their eyes. And so, we'll be paying attention to how the, top bear holders are playing, how they're enjoying. There's a bunch of ways to like gather feedback from people. And, I really want, for our roadmap, it says, by Q2, we're going to be updating. So by Q2, which is April 1st, I'd really like to have a substantial amount of consumer feedback available to really start implementing more fun things like mini games, a multitude of mini games, different game modes, ideas for quests that we're going to do, custom in-game bosses that we can spawn and everybody can whack at like a loot pinata, and at the very end you receive a cool NFT. It'll put depth and bring more immersion into the airdropping experience if people can literally participate in an event inside of the server, and then receive the airdrop by killing the boss with other people, and that NFT would signify you having killed that boss in that moment with the rest of the community. And I think that kind of stuff is what solidifies and makes us much different than a lot of other projects, is that we're trying to make this as fun and engaging as possible for everybody.
I think we need to pay you for a private tuition, or from myself and Sir Cheesley here. He's like, if you spectate me while playing, you'll be severely disappointed. I've never played Minecraft before. So you may see some awful gaming from me. And I think I'm joining him there. I look at this and just like open-eyed go, whoa, like it's, to me, this is all kind of, I've never been into like that, the game inside until such a time as, really the last sort of 6 to 12 months. I mean, I was a kid with a console, but I don't mean that. I mean, getting heavily involved in like the mechanics of it until the last sort of 6 months. I want to just jump back to Emmett's question here, because I think it's very important. Gnaw, where do you see yourself and the space you work in 5 years from now? Let's go to that question first. I'll pull up another couple of things while we just have this little transition period.
Sure, that's an amazing question to ask, because I ask it myself, and I'd really like within the next like few years to basically divide or separate Gnaw Bears from a main entity, right? So we've been discussing in our team and committee about having a I guess you could say a like a hub, where the hub is considered Gnaw, and Gnaw is a business, it's a LLC, it's its own entity, and an extension from Gnaw. We could, incorporate our already existing Gnaw Bears project, but also branch out into other ideas that I've, had, or, even ones that I haven't had yet. I'd like to mention that before this project, I'd say one of my main focuses was music production. I'd like to really get back into doing that. I'd like to, see what I can do about music NFTs, and also what we can do about making the music community a little bit more supportive than oversaturated like it has been. If you go on SoundCloud, it's like filled of like, just so much good music, but the people there are more after what they can get rather than what they can give. And I think music over time has come into a place where it's taking instead of giving. And I think if we focused on, even just a small bit of our music NFTs as a support system for already existing music producers, or just anything related, I think that would be, a wise decision to make as well. So I'd like Gnaw, as in the main entity, the LLC, the hub for all of the other projects that will stem from it, to have been established within, the next like year or two. And I'd like for there to be other ideas for other NFT projects. We have ideas of doing the G bots, which is Gnaw bots. I have some prototype of those out, but I really wanted to do like another generative NFT experience. I'd like to touch on the music production. I'd like us to be able to assist other projects in integrating their metaverse ideas into an already existing ecosystem. I'd like for us to have a working, functional, legal token, to play with inside of the game. I'd like for there's just a lot to even consider. I have such big plans to just keep on expanding, that a lot of this hasn't even come to fruition, or like even formulated into an idea yet, because like we've only been around for a month. So like as time progresses, I'm going to keep paying attention to like what we can do to just continue expanding into like a very dominant entity in the NFT space, to where we can be relied on to offer metaverse assistance to other projects. We can incorporate other projects that want to have the same, systems as we did, or like, utilize some of the same ideas. We can offer those as services. I'd like to, one of my biggest goals for like even just this year is to like be able to like pay my team, you know. So I just there's just a lot that I'd like to do, and I think every day, as long as I focus and just try to knock out as many things on my whiteboard that's right next to me every day, I think it's only a matter of time before we're able to like offer another NFT project a spot in our metaverse, or collaborate with more well-known projects to just keep exponentially growing. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know like how to really, speculate or foresee what's going to happen with Stellar, or what's going to happen with the whole crypto, experience. But if you're asking me for like my honest opinion, I think with this, MoneyGram stuff with Stellar, I think with the integration of Stellar, the ecosystem into like Metaverse, I think all of this stuff that we're about to unveil is going to change the way that we interact with money. It's going to change the way that people interact with the world. And I really think that there'll be a time in the near distant future where you'll be able to pay for your bottle of water, or your little gas station sandwich or something with XLM off your phone, or something crazy. Like, if you think about, all the amount of change that's taken place in just the short period of time of like just 2-3 years, it's only, we can only imagine what's happening.
Yeah, I think one of the things, I mean, I put a post on Twitter the other day and said, let's have some fresh minds to take us into the new system, rather than the old minds that brought us into this corrupt, broken system, or trying to lead us out of it. I think it would be super cool, like you say, to have value transference outside of the main system. That's something that I really aspire to do. I looked at it from a community standpoint here in the UK, with gardening. I'm into organic growing and that kind of thing. And I thought, okay, what can I do with my extra produce? I want there to be a token that we can use within our community, but instead of it being pounds, you can actually just exchange the token. So the token has value in food. And that's what it's based on. So it's a case of, you've got extra food, then you can obviously swap that food with people, but it's based on tokenomics. So I was looking at doing that before I really got involved in Stellar back in early 2021. And I think that we're very close now to be a lot of people. It's going to take a mass amount of people, I think, that to go, okay, well, I will accept, a fiat currency and the centralized system and this kind of this other currency, because it's only essentially accepting it for your time, right? For your endeavor. If I'm happy to swap my endeavor, my creative spirit, my time sat here on the computer, for something other than fiat currency, which is what I'm doing at the moment, and more people do that, that ecosystem starts to grow, because all of a sudden then I'm taking that, what I'm being paid, I'm paying you in that, you're developing a project for me with using that, and we start to develop this merry-go-round. And if we can onboard, I mean, we've got, Travala as a company now that's taken UST, which is a stable coin of Terra, so we've got this gradual where we're seeing, these corporations and these companies start to integrate crypto. But I'm with you. I think that Stellar can do when it goes to this MoneyGram, 150 million people globally able to plug in with USDC at the blink of an eye, like that, this quick. I think then that's where the game really changes. Those people transacting, finance across the Stellar network from one point to another very, very easily. I mean, some of these remittance providers, such as maybe Western Union and, all of these ones that exist already, some of them are charging these impoverished people 80% of the transaction, right, in a fee. And, so we're in a broken system here where the most poor people on the planet that are trying to support their families, have this broken system to use. And I think we're on the cusp of this revolution, as you mentioned, about using XLM in a grocery store, etc. We've got Jack who's asked a question. Gnaw, can you explain the custom Gnaw Bear option on Lightmint for us, please?
Yeah, sure. Geez, you just said like so many like amazing facts at once. I just kind of was absorbing that for a second. Um, yeah, the custom null. So we have a token on the our Lightment page to where you can purchase the token. It kind of looks like a mystery icon, and when you receive that token, um, you send it to me, or you don't have to send it to me, but you can. But basically, just confirm with me that you have a custom token, and what you can do is you can organize a bear in whatever fashion you'd like. So I'll give you the list of all of the available items and their rarity weights and everything, and you'll be able to go through um, and select, which background you want, which eyes, fur, blah blah blah, whichever one you want. And the way that we have it situated right now is that it doesn't grant you access into the server. However, I'm really considering that as a reward for purchasing that NFT, because it kind of just stands right now to where it's more or less just a cool image to look at. You made a cool profile picture. Hooray! But what I'd like to do is I have a list of who's received a custom token from me, and just for example, like Fig, he has one. Odin, we were talking yesterday, and I made Odin a custom item called Odin's Wrath. It says the most savage blade in the entire galaxy, used to slay the drinkers of milk and thought stealers. And we put some enchantments on it. We're just playing around with the custom items. It says when it's held in your main hand item, you get plus 32 luck. So like we're just playing around with those ideas. But I think after we discuss the ideas with the rest of the community, that we'll be able to definitely give you at least something in game for having purchased a custom token. Because as it stands right now, you don't really get much other than a cool profile picture. So I wanted to make it fun, but I just wasn't sure. It's just another idea. Not all ideas work out. So any input or any ideas on how to make that more fun, feel free to let me know in Discord.
And to say about cool profile pictures, I think I'm going to, the Genesis drop you did back in December when I was trying to buy the whole set, and Sir Cheesley did me that. I'll never forgive you, Sir Cheesley.
Yeah, number 5.
Yeah, I've got the green snake one, haven't I? That you really, really like. Was it number 9? No. What number was it? What's the green one?
The Green Goblin Orc Warrior is number 9 with the hellish background and he looks like a warrior. He looks like an orc warrior. That's like one of my favorite ones that ever happened.
That's what I said. So I think I'm going to have to pull him out of retirement and slap him onto my profile picture tonight to celebrate this chat we're having. Okay, so we've now got where are we up to? We're up to Stellar Community Fund. Nor, have you considered the Stellar Community Fund and going for some funding to help bring on more developers, help accelerate the project?
I have actually. That was part of the roadmap. Was that we're definitely going to ascertain, the possibilities of receiving some funds. I've just always come from a place, for me personally, to grind and really work hard for these things, and it just came into my awareness as of the past month or so that this was a possibility that we could receive funding. I just want to make sure that we're set up nice and pretty and have everything in order so that we can present it. So one of those things that we needed to do was like really have a clear roadmap for 2022. The next thing is that I'm going to have a light paper, as well as a schedule for phase 2 release and phase 3 and 4, so that at least when we do go to apply for this, we look like we're prepared and everything. But it totally, as far as expansion goes, and making sure that like we deliver a quality project, it becomes more and more apparent to me that we have to invest, as much as we can, especially into the security features, because like let's say for example that we get to the point of where like this server can only hold 160 players. So it's like for every I believe gigabyte of RAM, you can have 20 players. And so we have 8 gigabytes of RAM, and so we can have 160 players. But what we can do is bungee cord multiple servers into one, so that, like, for example, when you're in this lobby, you'll be able to teleport to another server, and it'll feel like you're just entering another world. And so at that point, when we add more and more servers, we'll be able to, think about the whole keeping the maintenance going and stuff. But we've just hit 50 bear holders, so we have a little bit of time. But what if we get to, like a couple thousand bear holders, then just one person decides one day that they want to be like a cheater, and like try to like mess with stuff. So like, as of the past like few days, it's really been on my mind about how we're gonna spend and really get down on the security behind all of this. And if that makes the whole thing take like another couple weeks, a month, couple of months, whatever, that's gonna be my main priority. So like, as I think if we were to apply for SDF funding, a majority of that would go to just creating the most secure, and also just making sure we had hired developers that are on duty at all times, just in case anything does go haywire. I think as far as like the assembly and like having everything put together and ready, I think we have that under control. Not much required as far as funds go. I mean, we do have funds from the first phase that are sitting in reservoir and waiting to be used as a reinvestment. But as far as expansion goes, when we do apply for the SDF funding, it'll go into the security, making sure that it's as secure and as safe as possible, as well as making sure that we have on duty support system and mods at all times. Because I'm thinking about, like, what if you know a father or a mother is buying a bear for their child. You know what I mean? And we need to make this as safe and as friendly and as cute and cuddly as possible for those children. So like my focus has really gone from making this appeal to adults to scaling this all around, having it be safe and entirely safe for children. So because we do have a few parents that have purchased bears so that their kids can log on and stuff like that. So a lot to think about, a lot to like work out. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm just again, I think it's such an in-depth conversation. I know that Brave, I've been talking to their guys quite a lot. They're doing like this kind of age shield thing, aren't they? That's like kind of one of their core products. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, with everything you're saying there about making sure it's safe and secure environment, especially with online gaming, I'm totally with you. And also the delay. I mean, I think, I'm all about listening to the community like yourself and pivoting where necessary. And sometimes, I mean, I've made a decision over the last couple of weeks. It wasn't a popular one initially, but it's turned out to be a super popular one because I was looking out for the community, thinking we've got to pivot here. And along with Sir Cheesley and Phil, we said, well, we've got to make, some change. And I think, like you say, if it delays it or you have to chop a little bit and change, and you're doing it with the best interest, all the safety of the kids, like you say, all the community at mind, then people will understand that, and they will say, okay, Nor, take another 2 months, dude. Let's get this ship shape before you go to ask for funding. Go there with all of your, the whole project, as robust as you possibly can, and you're more likely then to win those rounds and to get the funding and to be able to go from strength to strength. I think too many people sort of rush into projects, and without all of the necessary aspects being in there, and then the project just dies. We've been there ourselves. The project dies, and I think I would sooner see you, really take your time on this, because essentially, I mean, I think this is just my personal opinion. I think what is happening here, it doesn't matter whether it's a bear or a bull market. It doesn't matter what happens in the crypto space, does it really? Because at the end of the day, what you're building, you're connecting to a Stellar wallet, but it doesn't matter whether the Stellar price is up, the Stellar price is down. The network is going to remain the same, and that's essentially what you're after: is connecting with the wallets, connecting with the Stellar ledger, and being able to interact with that. So I think through whatever market that we've got, whatever sentiment, of course, it'll affect the players and the people involved in the crypto space. But for you to be focused head down, it doesn't really make any odds, does it?
No, not really. As long as someone can connect and confirm that they own the NFT, that's all it takes. But in the future, we really want to have a token To where like you could NFT an item or sell the item on a marketplace, but in the spirit of not over delivering or over promising, we made some adjustments to like how we were operating. For a short while, we were playing around with a token called DXLM. It's called Doge Lumens, and we were able to send Doge Lumens over Discord as airdrops within the Discord. We were able to send DXLM from Stellar Term to Discord, and then use that DXLM from Discord uh, as an airdrops, and then people could accumulate their DXLM on our Discord, and then they could actually buy a bear with that DXLM, because then they could deposit that from Discord back into their Stellar Term, then go to Lightment, change their market to DXLM, and then use what they purchased or what they accumulated in Discord to purchase a bear. And since there was like instances where you know there was a lot of taking, and we didn't want to create a spirit of like just having people be able to farm enough to be able to get a bear and then the bear not feel good. So we actually impeded our progress in terms of having a functional token that can attach itself into the game, and then we could use as an ecosystem to work around within the game. The reason why we did this was in the best interest of the overall project's integrity. And I feel as though like those types of executive decisions are really important to make early on. And so I decided that we were just going to rip that band-aid off really soon, just best to avoid all spamming and all toxic environments that could possibly come to be just based off of the amount of activity and the nature of the giveaway and taking. So there was talk of us being able to exchange to speak with a vendor inside of the metaverse to exchange, for DXLM or what have you. But as it stands right now, we're operating around an in-game ecosystem that is all virtual. So it basically operates the same exact way, whereas the token has no outside worth regardless. So there's no legality involved or anything. You start off in the server with X amount of dollars. You can earn those dollars very easily. If you'd like, I can show you a shop system that we've developed and worked out
Yeah, please.
just
Yeah.
through the use of mods. So in order to make a shop, let's say you were in the survival world or what have you, and you've accumulated enough dirt blocks that you want to become the best dirt block guy on the server and sell dirt blocks for hundreds of thousands of in-game dollars. Then you can be that guy if you want. So the way that that's done is you just need a sign, some blocks, and a item frame. And just to take a side note away from this for a second, all of what I'm doing will be available in guide form on the YouTube page. Prior to us launching, I'm going to spend a significant amount of time breaking down all of the different, faculties and stuff, so that there's a general understanding of how to play the game. So what I do normally is I place 3 different blocks. In the center, I'll place my item frame, and inside of that item frame, we will place the dirt block. And you can see here very nicely, we have a dirt block inside of an item frame. Now, what we can do is we can place a sign and just specify that this is to buy, and we can do 64, dirt block. Believe that's the amount of information you need, and then plus okay, unknown named. Okay, so we need to specify that this is a dirt block. Hold on one second. Item DB grass block. Okay, I messed up. Okay, so we go buy, enter 64 grass block, and then we specify how much we want to sell for or buy for, and we'll just buy like for 99999. And now we have a functioning buy command. And so we can do sell now. We can do sell, we can do sell 32 grass block for, maybe the same or something, just for simplicity. I don't want to math stuff out right now, but we can go back in here. We can get 64 blocks of grass. And now if we approach a person's store, we can take our 64 grass blocks and we can sell 32 of them for 9,999 at this store. So, and then we right click the sign, it says 999 has been added to your account, and it took 32 blocks away from us. And then we can finish this off by right clicking again and getting another 999. And also the buy sign here as well, we can get another 64, and we can right click, and this will buy 64 blocks. So we can buy our blocks and then turn around and sell them. And you can create a in-game ecosystem that way. We can set a market limit. We can set a limit to how much currency can be achieved inside of the game, and you can legitimately play the game and grind the currency. So my idea after the fact is, when we're ready to go into Q2 and massively update everything, I would like to have it to where whatever currency we have decided on, or even if we make our own token and we've deemed it legal and everything has been fine-tuned, and it's above board and everything and safe for kids and whatnot and their parents and whatever needs to happen in order to have an above board token, then we will tie that into the economy that's already been placed in here. So let's say you had like $9 million of whatever token in the game, we will get you your not, because I have a way to check every single player's account, how much they've earned, the history, the balances. It's all done through config files, and it's all very easily obtainable to see who has what at what time. We create a snapshot and then convert that into an actual token, and then you can be gifted or airdrop that token, and everything will be above board. So that's our solution to the long-term token aspect, as well as a solution for having a temporary Q1 shop system with a virtual economy.
Okay, so with this connection to the Stellar wallet, then the Stellar wallet is going to be for the NFTs, the Gnaw Bears NFTs, to pick up on the NFTs that you've got, so you can utilize them within the server. There won't be any internal, external movement of tokens. Is that correct? I mean, when I say tokens, I mean like your currency.
As far as I understand, that won't happen until Q2, whereas Q1 will be the main focus of just having everything in place. When you connect your Stellar wallet to the server, you'll be issued, your custom items, which will be given to you by the server, not Stellar. But in the future, I'd like it to where, you make Odin's Wrath, right? And, I can place Odin's Wrath inside of this item frame, and, it'll show Odin's Wrath. But I'd like for you to have a way to be able to mint that in the game, or if it's already minted outside of the game, I could send the NFT to your wallet, and then when you join the server, that NFT will get picked up, and then you'll receive Odin's Wrath. Now, the latter I know is possible, but the previous, I'm not entirely sure if that's going to be doable Q1 or Q2, but it's on the way.
Okay, brilliant. A question here from Michelle. What software would you recommend learning if you want to transition into an NFT designer? That's a good question. I mean, for aspiring artists, what would you say? I mean, I know Photoshop's quite technical. Is there something simple that you would begin with?
Honestly, it really depends on like what type of art you want to make. Like if you want to make pixel art, there's a pixel art program called Sprite. It's ASEPRITE, and Sprite is used to make like really simple, like pixel art and stuff, whereas Photoshop is more digital art. The digital art stuff in Photoshop's actually not too difficult. I've been using Photoshop since like high school, but I've noticed that I've never even touched half of the buttons or anything. So I think as long as you have a drawing tablet and you know where the brush command is and you know how layers work, then you're not going to have a rough time at all. It's just a matter of watching YouTube videos.
Yeah, I think good old YouTube, it's helped us all out of a pickle, I think, at some point or another. So that's a good one. Let's just see if we've got anything else at the bottom here. Gnawverse looks dope. We've got that from Arnob. What else have we got here? Debbie keeps dropping the truth from Sir Cheesley. C White has got, it looks super cool, man. I think everyone's really, really excited. Would you now just give us a 5 or 10 minute, and I know that this wasn't part of what we spoke about, but would you give us a 5 or 10 minute look at, say, NFTs or that side of it? I think we've got a really fantastic in-depth look at kind of your Gnaw now. Is there any chance you can kind of, you know, give us a little bit of the information, you know, that you've shown me in the past, maybe where you've created an NFT, or maybe something like the Ronin, or sorry, the Ninja, or anything like that, you know, that you've kind of put together? Because I think it's interesting for those people that don't know you to see your NFT art as well as what you're doing here.
Absolutely. I would love to, you know, share with everybody the process on how to make the NFTs, because I think the more knowledge is out there, the better the projects are going to get. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to stop the screen that we're looking at right now,
Yeah.
and I am going to share a new screen, if you would slide that over.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now we should be looking at a program called Sprite. Can you see this okay?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I see that you see it. Okay, so um, I guess the best way to describe how NFTs are made is by understanding that someone isn't just sitting there, and I hope that when I'm not taking like too long to explain this, I'm gonna try and like speed it up, but like understanding that an NFT project isn't someone like being hired to draw 10,000 drawings. And when I first started my project, you'll notice that Nulls 9, those hand-drawn variants, those were the first NFTs that I made, because my understanding, my uneducated understanding, was that those projects, those really good like visual, like, oh my goodness, that's really cool projects, were like, they're not all hand drawn. They draw each piece by itself, and then a computer script or Photoshop script, or there's many different algorithms and scripts that are available to auto generate layers. And so that the way that these Gnaw Bears in particular are made is that I spent, you know, 3 months or so really just doing art. And you spend, you know, a period of time focusing on art, and right here we'll have the void background, or we have the cave background, or we have frozen lake or a desert, forest night, forest day, hell, heaven, universe. So I draw, you know, as many as I can physically draw, right? So let's choose pirate treasure. And so I assorted these layers in order of their layering. So it'll layer the background first, and then on top of it, it'll layer the fur. And so let's say we wanted to play with blue raspberry gummy fur. We have orange slice gummy fur. We have rainbow, you know, error, skeleton. I like skeleton. So then the eyes get, you know, all drawn, and then we place them into their own group layer. And so now we have like emerald eyes. Yeah, skeleton. My daughter's saying skeleton. We have mouth, you know, shirt, classroom, hat, and main hand item, off hand item, and alignment. And so the alignment is just like an overlay. It's like an opacity overlay that gets placed on top. If your bear is completely good, it'll appear like all yellow. If your bear is all evil, it'll appear as red. I'm playing around with a new trait right now called Shiny, and Shiny is just going to switch and add a divide effect, basically. And so the way that these get generated is through, I'm going to have to switch my screen one more time. There was an in-depth guide on YouTube that I found. If you look for Hush Lips, Hush Lips had a guide on the Ethereum network and using Visual Code Studio. I'm going to pull that up here in a second. And so I'll show you the code for phase one. And let's do share screen, stop screen, share screen. Here's the window. Okay, so there it is. If you're, yep, there, okay. So this program here is basically designed to auto sort and index your images for you. You can go into the config here and see that in order goes from background to fur to eyes to mouth to shirt, classroom, hat, main hand item, off hand item, alignment. And so once we've you know, set our parameters, you know, the width and the height and all this good information about whether or not we have a background or we need a background, it'll generate, you know, colored background for you. we can basically come down here to the DNA tolerance, to where it'll generate based off of, let's say, this set of 99 will be generated based off of 999 bears. Now, if I set that to 9,999, you'll start to see things like happen back to back. Like you'll see, oh, that bear had a sword, and the one right next to it had a sword as well. So the lower this unique DNA tolerance is, the better. So we basically have it to where 999 bears are a part of a generation, and then the phase, which is what we're generating, is 99. So it's pulling from a pool of 999 bears, but only giving 99 of those bears certain traits. So that creates an environment to where we have certain traits that do not happen at all. And so when we come up here to like build, we can see the original first 9 Gnaw Bears come up as PNG, and we can view and browse what we've just created. Now, the really cool part about this is that it also generates a JSON file that in a lot of different marketplaces can just be plugged into the marketplace, that have like trait systems and property systems. We can just plug in this information, and it'll say, oh, 3% of the phase has stone fur. You can see here that number one that we're on, number one JSON. You can confirm that this has, the background, the cave. So we go to number one, we can say, okay, that's the cave background. I'm on the right one. So we go back to JSON. It says the trait type is background. The value is the cave. Fur, stone, eyes, worried pumpkin, mouth, full smile. Basically gives us all the information. But what the cool part about this is, it gives it DNA. So every one that's generated has its own unique DNA, and it basically is like its own life. Like, so you can go to your null bear and see that your bear has its own DNA. It's very unique. So we can make a spreadsheet, which Fig has done for us. To see like which DNA strains had certain traits, and this, that, and the other. But to take this one step further, on my other computer, I have generated a rarity occurrence rate data, and so where I can literally see how often traffic cone happened, and plug that into the data that gets displayed on Lightman. So this is just like a little insight to like how, I guess, detailed these NFTs are. It's not them all being drawn at once. It's them just being assorted, all of their layers and groups being assorted by a computer script, and making it very interesting and fun, because you get really interesting bears. I think in the first beginning few here, we had one bear that was computer generated, that had the light mint fur and the light mint heart, and it was rare at the same time. And I thought that was really, cool. Like this one right here has light mint fur, light mint heart, a repair hammer, and it's in the shop. And I just thought that it was really cool because a computer made that. I drew it, but a computer assorted it.
Yeah, I think that it always blows my mind whenever you go through these kind of demonstrations on like the NFT side and the different layers. I think when it's something like anything in life, isn't it? Confidence comes with the knowledge of subject matter. The more you learn about something, the more it sinks in. But like talking us through there about the different layers, but like the fact that you've obviously drawn those, but then the computers randomize those in a sequence makes a lot more sense, certainly to me, when you explain that to me. And I hope it does to those people on the show who are not as clued up. Let me just check to see. Oh, so we got Evan has just bought the Asprite. Looks like a fun software. What else have we got here coming through? Let's click onto this one. Someone would think it's it's all automated, but let me tell you, it's quite a lot of work creating all those items, lads. I have no doubt when he's talking about the hand-drawn items. Yeah, I have absolutely no doubt. Simple potato. No, first of all, I think lastly, or rather than firstly, it's important for people to know where they can find you. I know you're embarking on your own YouTube journey. So is it just a straight Gnaw Bears, or do we need to put anything else in to find you on YouTube for your tutorials, etc.?
I think right now, because I have such a small amount of subscribers, that I actually have no way to make a custom URL link to the YouTube page. I think that comes at like 500 or something. The best way to find me in general is just going on Discord. Discord.gg/gnawbears will bring you right to me, as well as visiting gnawbears.com or at gnawbears on Twitter. We have everything set up in such a way to where, as long as you can get on to one of those websites, either Discord, Twitter, or my actual website, it'll send you down a rabbit hole or within just a few clicks of being able to like get to our Discord or our website or whatever. As far as uh, the YouTube tutorials, those are going to be coming later this month as we get closer to our release date. But yeah, we have a lot of like time lapse videos of myself drawing and stuff that can be easily found through links on the Discord or through recent posts on the Twitter, or just typing in Gnaw Bears on YouTube. I'm sure works by now.
And of course, we can find a lot of your work. How often are you doing drops now on Lightmint so we can plug into that?
I was actually mathing out the rest of phase two. Phase two, which is the next set of 99 bears, will be releasing on the 11th of January. So the date will be 111. And we've tweaked the rarity weights and stuff for this phase so that, you know, if there's some things that never happened last phase that will be happening this phase, and then we've tweaked things that happened a lot and will be more rare. There is a section in the Discord that breaks down the buffs and nerfs of this phase, if you will, and we've called them the patch notes or the phase notes. And so when we release on January 11th, we're planning on, I think the math is breaking down to 4.7 bears each day, leading up to the 1st of April. But I'm really trying to really condense this down to where we're releasing maybe like 3 or 4 bears a day for auction at different intervals throughout the day, so that the people, you know, overseas can have a chance. We'll be doing giveaways in our Discord for like right now we have an event going on to where if you're active and you level up to the top 10 levels in our Discord, you can get a chance to win an all bear. So we're really trying to make sure that the people that either, you know, can't do it or don't have the time or whatever, they can still have an opportunity to win or receive one. But you can expect new Gnaw Bears the 11th of January, as frequently as 3 to 4 bears a day at different times throughout the day, just to cover each area.
Awesome. And you mentioned their giveaway, which cues me nicely into tonight's giveaway. Can you, are you able to screen share and see why that I've called the keyword slasher bear?
Yes, I will show you on my screen here.
This is one you want to get your hands on, peeps. Those 22 on the, it's always more. I don't know why it shows less. It's always a lot more views than the 22. But those 22 that are viewing live now, I believe on YouTube, not Twitter, have the opportunity of still typing slasher. Let's put this in. Here we go. Slasher bear. And this is the reason why it's slasher bear. That is Gnaw there, and he's slashing up the stellar world. He's cutting it all up, ready for his massive march into stardom throughout 2022. So this is the NFT, the one of one, that you are going to win, a very special NFT for this 1,000 subscriber Boring Crypto show only. So we're going to flick across now. If I just remove that, we are now going to go to me sharing a screen. So I'm going to get your slasher bears, and if you haven't done it, very quickly, like Brad has just done, let's go to share our screen. We want a tab, and we want the giveaway tool. So let's share that. So just tell me, can everyone see this?
I can see that. Yep.
Perfect. So what we do now is we can see we've got 26 people that have entered individual unique accounts. This sadly is not going to be available to you people on replay, or you people that are watching on Twitter. It doesn't work. So it's only you people that are watching live on YouTube. We're going to draw. It will go through those 26 and pick a winner. Here we go. Hey, there we go, Brad. Brad, you are the winner. So, Brad, if you want to hook up with, let's just click over here and stop sharing. We should be good now if I just click off that. So Brad, you are tonight's winner of the one-of-one NFT from Gnaw Bears. Congratulations to you. You are, what's the best way for him to connect with you, Gnaw? On Twitter?
If he wants to just DM me on Twitter or just hit me up on Discord, discord.gg/gnawbears. I'll spot him as soon as he joins and we'll get him sorted out.
Perfect. So I just want to extend a massive thank you to everyone that is watching, everyone that's watched this 1,000 show, from myself, Ben, from Gnaw, from all the community. We really appreciate you. You're what inspires us to work harder and to create these kind of shows and to give you an insight into the world of Gnaw and myself. We will be doing another show, I promised you, on Sunday, which is with Andrew Dixon, Inc. Of those of you know him from Lightmint, one of the top artists there on Lightmint, NFT artist, someone that I've worked with personally. That is going to be running out at, I believe it's going to be running at 4 o'clock UTC, which if we track that back, that's going to be 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the next live show for myself will be then. Of course, on Sunday night, we have the Lumen Swap show on this channel as well. We'll be talking all things crypto and, generally not just the Lumen Swap stuff, but all things in the crypto space that you guys want to talk about. Bring your questions on Sunday night, and that rolls out at 7 p.m. UTC, which I will think is 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? So lastly, Gnaw, you're an absolute legend. You inspire us all. Thank you for tonight. Thank you for investing this. What are we looking at now? 75 minutes in us. It's been really, really enlightening, and it's always a joy to chat with you. Thanks once again, my friend.
Thank you. I just want to say one thing. It's really nice to see how far you've come in such a short period of time, and I hope that you continue to grow the way that you have. We spoke a little bit about earlier, like when you're in alignment, you get that feeling. Every time I look at your channel, I get that feeling. I see that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and I look forward to where you'll be in just a year. And I appreciate you having me and my community come and hang out with you for the past little while. And time doesn't really exist, so it was really nothing. So,
well, next time we get you on, we'll be talking about Vengeance Gaming, and we'll be showing some people some characters that you've created, because that's absolutely mind blowing. But we'll save that for next time.
I'm really looking forward to that, and I'll see you then.
Take care, my friend.
See you later.